out of my way, oh, oh, you need a medic. Hook up the bait and cast up the line, reeling and orange fishing, I'm fine. Batter it up and toss in the pot, licking my tentacles clean as you rot. Up in the skip, hey ho, hook in your lip, yes bro. Tight tip. Catch of the day, oh, come and get it. Out of my way, oh, oh, you need a medic. Hook up the bait and cast up the line, reeling and orange.
Jack? What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc?
time going to be a very prevalent point in contention as teams try to base up on different sections of the mountain faces, all wanting to claim their stake and control how other teams are actually getting to rotate around them, more importantly underneath them. Chino and Pablo, relatively strong position, ample opportunity, push off whatever direction they want to head. Good amount of materials too. It's all about picking the timing though on these rotates, and I think that's where a lot of newer comers can kind of struggle.
Yeah, you don't expect to see these guys struggle with that at all. I think their main struggles has come when it comes to endgame, being able to find a win condition that keeps them moving in these games. In game 1, they lasted 20 minutes and 47 seconds. In game 2, they lasted 20 minutes and 50 seconds. 3-second difference in their games, and struggling at that point. So we'll see if after 2 games they've been able to have that light bulb moment that gets them a couple extra points out of the games, right? They don't want to be one of the teams who is going into game 5 needing a good game to qualify.
Picking back up where we left off though, Kira and Karama have at least managed to make it into the edge of zone here with only 63, 109 above, net surge kind of extending upwards in their favor, but it's still just not enough. This is barely what you'd consider breathing room, and they've just got to make something happen. They're gonna have to get a little bit fraggy here. They know that there's a duo just a little bit west of them. They'll go for the opportunity, but not enough shots connecting. Still enough to push them to a more comfortable position though.
Yeah, but they still got quite a ways to go to get to zone. And they're gonna be the last ones in on that side. Oof. I like the idea as far as positioning, but when you're down on surge that far below and you are getting tagged up, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good your rotation idea is. You're gonna end up in a spot like this one.
It's interesting to see Sky and Scroll just ahead of them though. King and Doom not too far behind either. But using all of your mobility just to make it into zone doesn't really leave a whole lot in reserve. Try and turn things around, and Shmali, fortunately, not going to be able to withstand the pressure of this lobby. Slit is now trying to see how much longer he can contend, but just too far underneath that damage threshold. It's basically an inevitable departure from this lobby.
I don't know if I forced the fight there if I'm them, right? You know, you make that play because you want to tank to get into dead side and not have to worry about your next rotation. And fair enough, once you get into zone, they definitely needed to potentially look for a fight, but just wait a couple seconds, the zone opens up and you're chilling now. You're back to the lobby. Seems like potentially an oversight, but we'll see.
And if you're Sky and Scroll in this position, do you choose to move right away for positioning in the next zone, or do you want to maybe take some shots at these teams directly underneath? I mean, they weren't too hard pressed in their loadouts, but it did seem like it was a good opportunity for elimination points.
Yeah, I think the big thing with them, right, is that there are a couple teams sort of ahead of them at the top of the cliff, right? And so they're gonna have to find a timing. And in that case, right, if you're Sky, you're gonna sort of scout, look for it. Scroll has some time to take shots at the players below as they rotate out. So you can do a bit of both, you know?
Pablo and Chino, they're going to continue to make their move. It's going to bring them directly towards Sinet and Giras, though. Asa Podesai also lurking nearby. Demish, Darm, 346 above. Always find it very important to kind of keep marks on where these players' surge thresholds are actually sitting. That way you can gauge whether or not they'll even be willing to try and actually duke it out should a team or an individual be a little bit more hard-pressed for damage. Start desperately trying to challenge them. Teams just on the outskirts, though. Frodoxy, Sangil trailing just behind where Maxi King and Doom are at. A lot of congestion now starting to build on these southern portions of the edge zone.
Rare missed the edit there from Sky. Couldn't quite capitalize on that player that dropped down. These guys are big chilling. Oh my goodness. It doesn't stop for these guys. Zangi and Belusi have been on a tear when it comes to the fighting. Miniminer said it. He's loving the confidence. I'm loving it too. They are not afraid of a fight in this lobby. And that's the kind of confidence you need to be successful in these games.
They're also really just big upping themselves for Major 1 finals, right? If they're able to really lock in, like you said, get the placement points. I mean, everyone watching this, you're going to realize that, hey, this is a very competent duo pretending further on, but Chino, Pablo, very unfortunate circumstances, currently 329 below. They have just had such a rough go, making their way across Wonky Land, and now Chino has to overdrive himself directly into another team's box. Really nowhere left to go there. X-Force and Roban, though, feeling pretty good. Decent little refresh. Just something to keep them going.
That is real tough for Chino and Pablo. We said they needed to have an uptick in performance, especially after 2 mediocre first games. And that one being even worse is not going to do wonders for them in the final 2. Belusi and Zangi potentially on the cusp of having their worst game so far today. I mean, you can excuse it. The 135 points they have now would potentially keep them in a safe position, especially with 2 extra games left to go. But not the team you expected to see below. How well they've been playing today.
Like this from Tripperin, though. Actively choosing to try and get aggressive. Doesn't really have much other options, given that he is 144 below. Belusi still trying to fight things out. Demon, Darmish will be able to stay strong, though. Not foreign fighting inside of the low ground, that's for sure. There's Tripperin. A little bit separated now from Hellfire, but he'll have to keep trucking forward. Doesn't really have time to hesitate. Has to just look for a big opening shot, but he's not going to get the opportunity. Just stays sealed out in the box there. High ground starting to get a little bit wacky, though. Feared and Kashi trying to see if they can hold it. Only 103 above, but this refresh is going to extend things just a little bit further for them. Have a good amount of materials. They could definitely look to build things out, and so many other teams clashing directly underneath them. Scroll is down. It's only Sky left to try and build up as many points as he can for the placement. Granted, they are nestled in a pretty solid position already for the leaderboard. He might even be able to look for the revive here. It's greedy, but it's effective.
No, it's the perfect choice to make, right? 2 heads better than 1. And in this case, these 2 being in the game still is a scary, scary sight for anybody. The only team that might not be too worried about that is Dam and Deemish on our screens. Podesai and Asa will be the ones to take height initially here as the moving zones continue. But for how much longer will they keep it with so many different teams in this lobby in position to potentially take it?
But look at Deemish and Darm. They used the overdrive grenade just to get the effects. Now trying to see if they can work through the mid-ground. Maybe make an approach towards height from behind, catch them off guard, but they will get caught for a moment. So many other teams also just trying to stay fixated in these positions. Sky, Scroll, a bit manic here, but at the same time, they claim so much space. It's all about now just luring players into their position, maybe even setting up for a pre-edit. Don't necessarily need the refresh, but every little bit counts.
Podesai and Asa continuing to try and hold their height control. But for Noxie and Sangil, they might have something to say about it. They're looking for it. They're eager. But if Podesai and Asa can hold on, they're going to have to hit some big shots to do it. Pressure being applied below, but they have ran out of hard materials, and that will just make them sitting ducks above. Fredoxy and Sangil, height might be out of the picture for them as Sangil goes down. Fredoxy forced to try and clutch again, and he's trying to hunt Minori down. He wants to get in a limb. He needs the materials. He needs the HP, and it won't quite happen for him.
It's just so hectic underneath. The moment that you start to do these layer swaps, the shifts, but Deemish, Darm, they found frags. That's just going to be another elimination. Solid points. Surefour and Repairs, though, they're the ones that have actually claimed ultimate height. Sky, Scroll, very limited on the builds currently, but 2 is better than 1. Revive paying off dividends already in terms of how much placement points they've been able to secure in comparison to what the solo circumstance might have looked like. But Sky getting pieced up. Too much pressure. Backside of zone. Unfortunately, isn't able to get the knock and the elimination refresh he needs. Siphon, HP, anything works at this stage for him. Only a little bit of Flowberry Mist Grenade that he's going to be able to actually leech off of. Dropping all the way down now. 3 builds remain. Deemish left as a solo contender too. Trying to see if he can keep breaking through on these lower layers. Momsy from behind. Everybody just collapsing on top of each other. But Sky, big refresh. Still not enough. The Siphon materials just barely going to keep him packing a little bit further. Raspuka underneath. Sky just needs to get the opening shot. Free Fire has to be steady, but he won't have the opportunity here. Giras taking out Karama. It might just be Sinet and Giras' game to bring home here. Skyjump and Momsy, though, they're looking to be the difference makers. They've only got a couple moments left. A couple builds remain. But it could be enough because Giras has been taken out. Momsy's going to strike first here. Skyjump and Momsy, they managed to get the job done. And so for France, they could be happy to see Skyjump and Momsy launching themselves on the battle bus for the Major 1 Grand Finals.
They were a team who we mentioned have been impressive in spurts, in moments throughout this year. And finally, delivering the goods to secure a spot in the finals. Skyjump and Momsy are deserving. We're going to send it back to the desk to break that game down.
Well, it was Acer and Podosai who looked like they were in a winning position and on height for quite a lot of the endgame there. But in the end, it was the alternative French duo Skyjump and Momsy who were able to take the W mini minor.
Yeah, it's all about that 11 zone, I think it was, height take. It's those sort of moments that really make the difference in these games. And I spoke about it at the end of last game. If you can fend off those teams that are jumping up and trying to take height, there's usually 2 or 3 of them, then you're good to go. But unfortunately for those guys, they couldn't quite hold on. But all the better for Skyjump and Momsy, who got together at the end of Chapter 7, Season 1, last season, and started putting in some solid performances. They thought, you know what, let's stick it together. They're a team that we sort of seen playing together for a long time. Had a little bit of a break away from each other, now coming back into it, Takata, and finding a lot of success.
Yeah, I mean, in the Div Cups, they had a 33% top 10 rate, and starting off today, they also got top 10. Issue is, in the match before this, they got 39th with 0 eliminations, so they were quick to jump right back into that action, get the elims they needed, and also pick up high ground at that perfect moment in the final zone. So I know the French fans are going to be excited to see Skyjump and Momsy in the major finals.
And the rest of the duos in the lobby might be excited because their drop spot was uncontested towards the west of the map. So again, some opportunities for change as we head into game number 4 after the break. Skyjump and Mumsy have won a victory royale. It means that they are going to be in the finals next weekend. Listen, okay, I was a bit surprised. They were not a duo that was on my bingo card for getting one of the golden tickets, okay? So I'm still kind of processing the shock of it all. Apologies to all the French viewers watching. There are some fantastic French duos in the lobby tonight. We're talking about one of them in just a moment, but right now I'm going to turn my attention to the east of Europe, to our Polish duo, Demus and Dam, because they're heating up as the night goes on. They're continuing to pick up multiple eliminations, and it really does feel like they're actually playing for the win. Mini Miner.
Yeah, remember, these are the guys that actually I predicted to win this game, and they didn't, so not too happy personally. But what I am happy about is how they're playing overall. They're really showing us now in these last couple of games that they know what to do in these lobbies. Even when the zone isn't necessarily perfectly in their favor, like I broke down at the beginning of the day, they had some real success when zones were in their favor. This one a little bit more towards the north, but they had every part to play in this end game as well. Even just clutching up a few of these moments, hip to hip, like we talked about before. Very, very solid from this team. They're looking really good for consistency right now, Staccato, even if they don't pick up a win.
Yeah, I think just keep predicting them, Mini. You don't got to worry because they do have the second best win rate this chapter on EU. So, I mean, I'd say they're bound to win one of these matches with how they've been performing.
Yeah, they've been performing brilliantly. I do have a soft spot for Damus and Demus. Damus and Demus. Yeah, I'm saying I like these guys, and yet I still can't get their names right. Apologies. It's about 28 degrees in my studio, and I'm definitely feeling it right now. Talking about Sky and Scroll, then moving on to them. They have not won a victory royale, otherwise they wouldn't be in the lobby anymore. We were expecting them to pick one up, but they are getting very close to Carter.
Yeah, I mean, being the only duo that plays top 10 in 50% of their Div Cups, you can expect to see them in these end games. But what keeps happening, though, is it's a solo clutch from either Sky or Scroll. I mean, first game it was Sky, second it was Scroll, and in this third game, I believe Scroll actually got picked up after getting knocked, but then Sky once again went on to get a decent little end game clutch there, but they haven't won. They're just consistently doing it very well.
Yeah, I mean, even that earlier on in that endgame, they had that clutch revive, right, where one of them, I forget who it was, ended up rolling all the way down and managed to actually get the revive off there. Then that 9th zone actually then pulls back in their favor, so they're able to continue on through that game. It's little moments like that where just having that synergy, because they've played so long together, having that understanding, having that trust in your teammate to say, yeah, you can pick up the revive now, those little moments right there is exactly where you can see it.
Yeah, it's a lot of experience, a lot of chemistry that's on display with these guys. Let's talk about the French duo I alluded to early, though. Akira Kurama. They're starting to pick up the pace now, Takata. A big elimination game for them in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, the issue that we said with this duo is in both the Div Cup finals, they were uncontested, and now they are contested in these heats. We saw the issues of that in the first 2 matches they played. It was basically back-to-back 43rd and not great in the first match, but now they finally made it to the end game, and they did not disappoint. 9 eliminations, 3rd place. I just hope they can keep up the pace.
Yeah, this is better. This is exactly what we want to see and expect to see more from this team. I broke it down at the beginning of the day. I was saying they're not going to make too many of these end games, but they need to make the ones that they do make count. And off the back of a couple of really poor performances, when you put it in context of how good they can be, they really made the most as much as they could, I suppose, of that end game, getting 3rd right there. I'm just now curious, these last couple of games, are they going to have some troubles off spawn? Are they going to be able to make these end games? Because if they do, they'll be doing more of the same.
Well, let's take a look at the lobby list. Remember, to everyone watching at home, we've had 3 games now. So the top 3 names, they've all qualified by victory royales to the major finals next week. And then if we scroll down, the cutoff point is 15. So that's our consistency placement. So Akira and Kurama sitting just underneath that now. But if we go to the 3rd page, you can see some of our Danish duos. Chino, Pablo Wingo and Prodoxy. Don't forget, they are the reigning major champions. They may have split now, but we're definitely expecting more from all of these players, Mini Miner.
Yeah, the particular surprise here is Chino and Pablo Wingu, and we've already had so many upsets here in the heats. I think this would be another huge upset if they don't make it. And Takar, we were talking about players that don't end up making a major final after winning it, and we kind of sort of alluded to that being more of a Fred Doxy thing. We should have included the other guys in it as well. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is not what you'd expect to see coming from the major 3 win-in trios. Now the trio split up, and at least, you know, they're staying together on the leaderboard. You would hope it's a little higher up, but 2 matches left before we conclude the day. So, hey, it could be a win for both of them. That's odds are low, though.
If both of them make it to the end game, Takata, maybe that will up their chances more, because it's a running theme with these guys, even in Reload Elite Series, even going back to when they were a trio with Fredoxy. It always seems to be Pablo or Chino trying to clutch, particularly Pablo, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope we don't see a lot of solo clutches here. The problem is I'm also seeing Fredoxy always kind of being the last alive. I don't know if the chemistry is just not going there. They have been a little unlucky, I'd say, in some of the picks. I don't know if it's they're not covering, but a lot of double pumps on either Fredoxy or Sanguild where they just instantly get deleted without the chance to kind of rack up those little bit of points every game. So I'm hoping for a big one soon.
Wow, it's going to be a big game for someone as we head to game number 4 with Taco and 11GK.
Every single one of these duos still has their own problems left to try and overcome in these lobbies, Levin. But with the final 2 just about to be underway, what do you think are some of the biggest switch-ups you're kind of expecting to happen here?
Ooh, I mean, honestly, I'm not expecting to see much change. I think what needs to change as far as some of the teams who maybe are struggling is the execution, right? We've seen a lot of these teams get in good enough positions to where you'd expect them to have decent games, the kind of games that propel you into a qualification spot, and then somebody makes a mistake, somebody overextends, somebody takes damage where they shouldn't, and then bang, we're talking about them maybe missing out on next week's finals. And so again, it's all about the execution, I think, for a lot of these teams in this lobby.
Well, whether or not these duos are going to be able to clean things up, only time will tell, but game 4 is ready to get started. Some of the switch-ups, though, that have been interesting. We already know the likes of Chap and Flixie, for example, taking over coaching responsibilities for Maxi King and Doom. We've also got the likes of Akira and Karama. They're actually going to be switching out where they choose to drop. Mumsy's Forest, Old Stumpy, coached by Skyjump and Mumsy. So
there you go.
A little bit of French love to pass around and see if they can replicate some of that same success.
I mean, these are the types of things that, again, become interesting, where you have a team that good switching up. But we did talk about how, with them, they're going to have to change things each game until they find something that sticks and works. And so maybe you could say that isn't too surprising, especially from those two.
May also make things a bit better for the likes of Romov and Axforce, Asa Podesai. I know that those were definitely a couple teams that were consistently, seemingly clashing with them. So slightly different scenery might help everybody else indirectly. Strokey Bevies make it first to the gas station. Got some weapons to work with, but don't want to take shots at just yet. Just kind of waiting things through. We'll claim the slurp truck though, and off to a solid start here, just trying to see what else they can gather.
You're obviously seeing these two teams having a couple back and forths over here at Riptides. Now once again, Andon and Spleeze find themselves crouching about here. They've had the better fortune, you'd say, over the course of the day. The job is not finished. Club Sheet and Cracks still have much work to do, and that starts right now. Club Sheet takes Jazz Key down, so they'll get a pair of limbs added to their tally, and the comeback is on.
This is definitely right around the point where, you know, the gloves have to come off. You have to start making some big plays and conversions. Good off game or off spawn starts, the late game finishes. 6 in stand though, just hoping to survive. But Akira and Karama just continuing to apply so much pressure here. This was not the switch up that Six and Stan were expecting to connect with so early on, and now a little bit of third-party techs, but it's not going to be enough to actually help Six escape. Karama and Akira opening up with 2 eliminations. That is definitely bound to bode well for them, because it looks like Wonky Land might also be in their control.
What is Fredoxy cooking here? This doesn't work, right?
Fredlurk is a patented strategy for a reason.
This doesn't work, right? Well, this is a free beat. You take
Oh,
this beat,
this
surely.
bugging on these.
If we didn't take that beam, that would have been an overcome. You know you have to play isolated. These what's going on.
My current streak is 0 because I haven't played.
And now you can try pinching in the 2v1. To be fair, his teammates done well to get back involved, and so Peaks will group up and they'll make a bunch of boxes, and anybody that's played comp knows when a team starts boxing up like that, you might as well just get a move on, man. These guys ain't trying to go down. Don't wanna waste your time fighting through 20 metal boxes. Sky and Scroll in a bit of a scrap here. We don't see these guys scrapping at this point in these games too often. Will they get the better hand of Bevies and Pastrokey? Not without some third-party interference, and so we'll see whether or not they commit to this fight now or opt to back off.
A little bit of a delay, but Scroll, not a whole lot of material. Could just need this fight, and Bevies already being knocked just means that it's gonna allow for Sky and Scroll to just continue applying a little bit more pressure. The Siphon will come through here, but Strokey still doing a decent job at just keeping Sky and Scroll at bay, but the 1 versus 2 material count was looking rather thin for both for Strokey and Bevy, so it's gonna be very difficult, but at the same time, we'll be able to wiggle his way out for right now. Get a look back to the success here for Sky, where he found this elimination originally. Just a really nice pre-edited opening shot, and it's exactly what you need to connect with.
Yeah, that's a good situation where, you know, we often talk about teams trying to find pinches, but there, their opponent is stuck against the hill, and so just both of them fighting head on increase their chances of picking that one up. So props to them. Dom and Deemish looking in a good position to qualify, but they'll be wanting more. They'll want to win. Still fighting here at Riptides. Wowza.
That is tough for Anden. Largely just because of the fact that you've been winning the majority of these fights all day long, and then the one lobby where you're sitting there on the cusp, 14th place on the leaderboard.
Oh.
And now your fate exclusively in control of what happens in this 5th game. They cannot afford another early elimination departure. They are going to have to lock in for that last lobby. And it's a lot of pressure, I think, that gets added on. Be difficult for them to contend with, but it's part of the affairs involved. Competitive Fortnite after all. Snosku and Vexy also a little bit stuck here. This could be kind of just lurking nearby, trying to see if they can maybe get a third-party appearance. Chill scenes though for Asa and Podesai.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what we saw from them in the last game, right? Not being afraid to get aggressive on towards Robin and Axe Force. Again, you don't want to see teams shying away from what they think is the right play, just because there's some risk involved. Moneymaker and Fanayana, never a team to shy away. But up against Dom and Deemish, I mean, it's never going to be an easy 2v2. But they do look eager to force the fight to happen again. They've struggled with Surge throughout the day. I don't blame them.
Quick stat says it all. Darman Deemish managed to qualify for every single 2025 major with the Victor Royale. So it's a very familiar setting for these two, and either way, they've definitely got a solid amount of points, but there are eliminations still taking place elsewhere on the map. And for Vexy, He's managed to find his own. Ontoax just keeping them under their heel. It's kind of how you need to control those engagements, though. You want to find those quick time to eliminations. You don't want to have to overcommit or overextend your welcomes, because then you're just allowing other teams to kind of intervene with your position, control where you're trying to rotate through, or worse still, clean you up after the fact.
Yeah, have to be conscious of that, especially with there being so many different teams trying to base up nearby.
This is a rather interesting situation, though, that Gino and Pablo have landed themselves in here, Levin, because they're sitting at 70 points. They've got this lobby and the next one, and that's it. And they are outside of the consistency qual range currently. You've already touched on it, where they've struggled to kind of find more than just that 20-minute presence in lobbies. So how do they look to correct?
Well, at the end of the day, especially for those two, you know, you can look at Fredoxy in that case as well, with all the expectation around him being so successful last year. You know, two players like this, you don't want to bottle it, you know? You don't want to be in a situation where that expectation's on you and you fall short, you know? You don't want to be the Arsenal of the lobby, right? So they want to make sure they're not in a situation to completely bottle, throw it away. And we've said it so many times, but we keep saying it because it is so important. The last chance qualifier in EU, you know, the battle bus is filling up quickly. I mean, there are way too many good teams that need one of those free spots available. And if we were to add Pablo and Chino to that list, you'd want to be confident about their chances, especially with how good they are. But I believe there was a quick stat earlier about how, you know, they're not a team that, you know, is winning a bunch of games, right? I think when you look at Heats last year, a lot of the time it's them going through in consistency. So time to turn things around.
So many teams, though, looking to kind of take their chances, opting for a more dead side position rotation. Sned, get us. Certainly have a little bit of time to work with here. Plenty of meds too, so it's not like they're all that worried about dealing with these early storm ticks, but you have to hope that they were able to net themselves a good amount of surge before opting for such a strat so far away from the rest of the lobby.
You'd like to think so, right? Otherwise, you know, it'd be a big misplay, and we won't be analyzing much more of their game throughout the day. Sky and Scroll, I'll be honest, with everything I've seen from the Heat so far, Taco, I feel more and more confident in wanting to say Sky and Scroll will be the team that walk away as FNCS champions next weekend. I know it's a bit early to start having these conversations, but
that's a big pre-fire.
yeah, no, I feel like when you look at their consistency, their ability to, I think ultimately one of the biggest problems we're seeing with teams in general, no matter how good you are, we're seeing teams struggle to just find consistency in making end games in a, you know, stacked enough position, right? The biggest skill gap we're seeing is the teams in 6th, 7th, 8th zone. When it's time to deal with surge, can you avoid taking damage while not completely burning away all the resources you have? And they do that better than anybody in the region right now. And so if they keep playing how they're playing, we might see even more Danish FNCS champions after getting our first ones last year.
I can think of a few other duos, though, whose ears might have perked up when you said that. It is, I think, not necessarily, you know, it's not like a crazy prediction by any means, though, because they have definitely earned that kind of reputation. I mean, one big thing during the offseason in the divisional cups, when they were first contested, I know a lot of people were kind of wondering, hey, how are they actually going to be able to fare with a little bit of off-spawn fighting? And they held their own. They did an excellent job. They managed to still retain top 5 positioning inside of those Div Cup finals. So it's very obvious that they have been working on things on all fronts.
Absolutely, and look, a sort of little anecdote for people who maybe haven't been watching EU competitive for the longest amount of time. You know, there was a long period of time, especially during like sort of chapter 2, chapter 3, where oftentimes it was the team in EU who was just able to make it to endgame 12 out of 12 games who would just win the FMCS, right? Like just having that consistency to make it to that many endgames just meant that you were either going to be deep in the running or just outright winning. And at least when you look at how things are shaping up right now across the region, they seem to be the only team that look likely to have that type of performance. So already people's favorites, and I feel like what we're seeing in heats thus far at least definitely will empower people to feel even stronger about that. But as we lock back into game number 4 here, teams who are looking to learn, improve, and secure positions for Strokey in a very tough spot in this game. Things started off so well in the day for him and Bevies, and ever since then it's sort of cooled off for them. They've had their fair share of struggles, and it's been in fights like this one where they are just lacking in health, lacking in resources, and lacking in surge. And you have Howley and Lusher desperate to take you out. There's not much he can do, and so for Strokey, Bevies will be watching from the sidelines for now.
I want to call that the Sky and Scroll effect, really, though. Their influence early on by challenging for Strokey and Bevies really just kind of put a huge hiccup, I think, into their early game, made things rather difficult, prevented them from establishing the surge that they would have hoped for originally, and then forcing them into taking those kinds of fights that are just at such a big disadvantage. But you're right, it is difficult knowing that you're pretty much having to bank everything on your final lobby performance. And while we're on the topic, Sky just adding another one to the count here. Great challenge. Bimbo never even had a chance to really see that one coming. Beautiful play, though, from Sky and Scroll as they just continue to extend their lead for consistency on the placement position. Zangi, though, spot of trouble. A strong start to the early game, seemed to have cleaned off a little bit here these last couple of lobbies, but he's still looking to try and punch forward, secure whatever he can. 163 below, though. Sure, you can out-heal some of these surge takes with the Chug Jug and the 3 splashes that remain, but if you fall too far behind the rest of the lobby, when you rotate in, you are just going to be gobbled alive. And sees an opportunity here. It's Asa, it's Podesai. They're trying to avoid it. They can tell that this is a player that is hoping to find a little bit more here, but that might just be a perfect opportunity for Asa and Podesai to come out on top. Some good little bits of loot secured there off of the elimination.
It's good to see that when desperation strikes these guys, they answer with their best strike, and they're gonna have to do that again as they look to bump heads. Podesai will fall. Asa getting chopped from beneath. Shots coming in from in front of him as well. Has to use the materials he adds, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough. The players are still looking to take him down. And Surge ticking away. Zeku are on easy street. Will this be the game they just decide to win and take that last game off? We saw Zeku and El Wavy, a big Osborne win against the momentum of the day. They've been struggling over at the Riptides. And if they could win this game now, Taco, it would be a big sting and a big blow for their Osborne rivals, Pablo and Chino. A big refresh to keep their game alive.
And that's what makes things so treacherous, though, for Zeku and El Wavy up on height. You've got duos like Sky and Scroll, like Pablo Chino, that are just finding consistent little refreshes, but the confidence as well in the fighting potential. Scroll opened up the edit, immediately finds an elimination right after the fact. A little bit tagged up, will lose his shields, going for the body loot, but it's...
What's up, Doc?
Dime,
¿Qué estás haciendo?
iba a jugar Salvar el Mundo.
Ay, tengo que hacer esa mila también. Otro
Hay
día.
un skin gratis. Hay
¿Cuánto
un skin
dura?
gratis.
Sí, yo jugué
Creo
un
que-
rato los otros días, pero...
No me acuerdo si es hasta mayo, creo que no me acuerdo.
terminé después.
Y el carro también lo saqué ahora mismo, quiere hacer una misión en
El carro
Battle Royale.
yo lo saqué sin saberlo.
Y si juega Rocket League te dan un skin. O sea,
Ay.
hace unos challenge en Rocket League te dan un skin.
Mucho trabajo.
Macho, yo lo hice fácil yo solo.
Ah, pero tú juegas Rocket League, yo no juego Rocket League. Lo más que hice fue... Me dieron el carro, saqué la pintura y las gomas. Porque era el 1 y el 2 yo creo. O el 2 y el 3. Pero hacer puntos sin estar mucho tiempo... Difícil.
Ey, en Salvar el Mundo son 350.000 puntos que tienes que hacer para
Me
tener la skin.
me faltan 350.000. No, 300. Yo hice
¿Es
50.
jodón hacer puntos ahí?
No, tú juegas como misiones, no, como te digo, tabla, qué sé yo, tienes que hacer una antena. Y es como ay,
Sí, son oleadas de zombies, algo así.
sí y no, pero sí.
Okay.
Porque ahí tiene, por lo menos las primeras dos que yo hice, fue una antena, buscar un par de cositas, y la otra era el battle post, para que el battle post no, la guagua de revivir para que se fuera.
Okay.
Y mientras tanto, pues tienes que defenderla para que no la destruyan.
Mira, la skin es esta, la que están dando en Rocket League cuando hace los challenge. Chequéate, es ella.
Pues a ver si vamos a Rocket League. ¿Esa era la misma que nos dieron con el traje azul? ¿O es diferente personaje?
Es diferente porque me sale aparte un casillo de la parte.
Ah, ok.
Pues si fuera la misma, entonces me daría más que editar.
Ah, sí, exacto. Mira, y esta gente que no arreglaron a Bob Bunny, mide como 8 pies.
Para que sepa.
Cabrón, tú miras la pantalla y está encima del televisor casi, cabrón.
El que está bufiado es Stone Cold.
Yo lo vi, pero...
Limón ganó ayer el campeonato.
Algo vi ahí de Randy Orton, no sé qué.
Ah, perdió ayer.
Pero yo
Ayer.
pensé que esa gente ya está retirada hace como 20 años atrás.
No, Lacho, todavía todavía queda gasolina. Ayer era los WrestleMania y hoy también. Los WrestleMania lo están dividiendo últimamente en dos partes.
Ay, señor.
Pues son muchas luchas ahí, se las dividen en dos partes.
Pues empiezan al mediodía, como Consuela.
Está cabrón.
Bueno, después que cabrón, Coachella hizo chavo con cojones. Pero ir ahí, si tú no eres famoso, es sufrir.
Pero ahí el que se logró los chavos fue Justin Bieber, para más decirte.
Bueno, sí y no. Para el canto ayer también, yo creo. Sí y no. Sí, porque a lo mejor es súper sencillo. Pero él se ganó 10. Pero a lo mejor generó 50.
Pero, cabrón, pero tú seas cantante y pones una laptop con tus videos musicales y cantar sobre las canciones, cabrón, vete para el carajo.
Porque contigo tuvieron que pagar millones de pesos, aparte de como 2 o 3. Hicieron casi 70 millones para ellos. Sí, 70 millones creo que vi. Para ellos.
Cabrón.
Por las entradas, de las bebidas. Eso, pero ir ahí es sufrir en verdad. Aquí me falta derrotar a Light Skin es que no lo encuentro nunca. Y la última vez que lo encontré, los que andaban conmigo me abandonaron y me mató.
Pues la primera vez que te mandan a matarlo, yo lo maté porque el nene me ayudó a matarlo.
Ay, que yo estaba con gente random aquí y se fueron. Y me mató.
Él estaba con un amiguito y me ayudaron a bajarle la vida, entonces yo lo rematé.
Bueno, ¿yo tengo que matarlo o si yo le hago daño y tú lo matas me cuenta?
No, dice eliminar, porque si fuera a hacerle daño te lo diría, de infligir daño.
Sí, porque hay veces que tú mandas, si somos 3, los 3 estamos disparando y tú lo matas, pues me contaba.
¿Tú sabes por qué no cuenta? Porque la primera vez que traté de hacerlo, le bajé toda la vida y vino un cabrón, lo mató y no me contó.
Cojones. Pues. Ustedes bajen en la vida, yo lo mato. Mira, yo estaba viendo el juego, bueno, no el juego completo, de los Lakers y
Houston.
Y Houston.
Yo estaba viendo también.
A ver si tú piensas lo mismo que yo. LeBron juega, está jugando para hacer estadísticas.
Siempre, toda la vida.
Bueno, sí, pero ahora más porque ahora el juego ha cerrado y él no ha sido un intento positivo. Ay, mala mía. Él no ha sido un intento positivo para anotar. Él le pasaba la bola al otro. Dios, estaba caliente, es verdad, el otro. Pero muchas veces yo lo vi que pasaba la bola. Cabrón, ahí no hay nadie, tírala tú. Eso sí.
Ya está en las últimas. Ya no le queda mucho.
¿Cuál es el figure de Hachimura? Ese cabrón no falla en midrange.
Lo que pasa es que él es frío caliente. Viene un juego bien como ayer. Viene un juego bien cabrón y hay otro juego que no mete un coco. Es la realidad.
Porque yo he visto...
Y tú le puedes preguntar a cualquiera y te va a decir lo mismo. Es frío caliente.
Yo he visto varios jueguitos y el midrange no lo falla el cabrón.
Pero es frío caliente. Cuando viene metiendo, pero cuando dices jugar mierda, ya tú sabes.
La da mercy.
Ayer hubo cabroncísimo, pero ya hay que ver, creo que el próximo juego creo que es el martes. Pues ya tú vas a ver que no va a meter un coco. Dios quiera que no, ¿viste? Porque ya están en playoff. Pero vamos a ver. Yo me sorprendí cuando ganaron porque jugaron sin Lucas. Y sin Rift también.
Sí, pero este también no tenían a
Durán.
Vi que después algo en la rodilla, no sé.
Sí.
Los Knicks ganaron también, no sabía ni que jugaban. Denver jugó bien. a la Jordan. Carro. Hay uno allá arriba, yo creo.
Ok.
Me tumbó. Cabrón, estaba ahí para yo no lo vi.
¿Dónde está?
En el carro metido arriba, aquí. Pero ahí ya mataron a uno y en el puente me murió otro. El carro. Me iba a esconder, pero se me salen las orejas por el techo. El que en Twitch están dando un par de cositas.
Ay, ya yo me metí ahí. Creo que ayer o antier lo hice.
El skin que... ¿Eso es un skin?
No, no, es que es como si fuera una foto.
¿Y dónde carajo sale eso?
A mí me lo dieron hoy, yo lo hice antes y me lo dieron hoy. Pero no sé dónde sale porque tampoco te deja equipártelo ni nada.
¿Pero te salió en el juego?
Sí, me salió el juego ahorita cuando entré.
Pues no me sale. Ya, 4 horas ver esa mierda para un sticker.
Mira, hay unas pizzas ahí, bro.
¿Pero es que no dices?
No sé, en realidad no sé para qué carajo es eso, de verdad no sé, porque no sé si es para salvar el mundo, te puede cambiar la foto del perfil de salvar el mundo, no sé.
Es que 4 horas por un sticker, no creo.
No, no es un skin, de verdad, le doy el gato porque a mí me salió y no me dejaba equiparla ni nada.
Oh, a mí no me salió todo lo demás menos eso. Yo lo puse en el trabajo. Yo dejé el teléfono ahí en el trabajo en una esquina.
Yo estoy haciendo hasta el de Ice Raider ese. Hasta eso estoy haciendo yo, cojo los drops.
Ah, ok.
Porque yo tengo el juego, pero no lo he jugado todavía.
Vamos a jugarlo. Lo que pasa es que ya hay muchos hackers, hermano.
Estoy gestando a Edo que se lo compre.
Está barato, no subió. Está bueno jugarlo yo lo he jugado un par de veces. Este se lo compró, creo que Kedri. Lo que pasa es que me encabrona que la gente juega para matarte nada más. No ganan nada haciendo eso. Porque
la mierda es que te se matan, te pierdes todo, hacer la mierda también.
yo cuando juego así, juego por lo gratis. Que se lleven lo gratis. Porque está cabrón, uno quiere hacer cosas, nada más con los robots y eso es suficiente. Entonces vienen unos cabrones que están pendientes a matarte. No hacen más nada más que matar gente, no sé para qué.
Yo jugué el beta, cuando antes de salir jugué el beta. Y como que no me llamaba atención. Y fue que Matador lo compró y me dijo, mira, lo compré para que si lo quieres bajar.
Está chilling.
Al igual, también jugué el juego el beta ese de Invisible.
Ah, ese no sé.
Es de pelea. Es de pelea. Es como si fuera un
sí, ese es
Fighter.
el de los muñequitos, ¿verdad? El de el anime
Sí.
ese. Ok.
Tiraron el beta, lo jugué y... Yo, si en algún momento lo compraría cuando baje de precio.
Yo compré para tenerlo, lo he jugado. El de Call of Duty estaba en 25 pesos en Walmart.
Ah, coño. Yo estoy esperando que baje ese precio. Lo más que lo he visto aquí en Walmart es en 30 y pico.
Aquí estaba en 20, creo que era 26.99 o algo así.
Yo estoy loco por comprármelo,
Porque yo compré, cabrón, me compré el control ese para el teléfono de, ¿cómo se llama eso, mira? Lo tengo aquí en la caja. El Backbone.
Yo lo tengo.
Diablo, cabrón. Pero tú tienes el emulador de Delta. Bájalo, yo te doy la página para que bajes los juegos. Cabrón, tengo Mario.
Acuérdate que el emulador yo creo que yo lo tengo, tú me dijiste para mi iPad, pero no tengo, ¿eso viene para Android también?
Ahí no sé, tendrías que chequear.
Pues cabrón, yo sé que vienen diferentes.
Cuando tú lo conectas al iPhone, pues cabrón, parece PlayStation. Me sale primero el lobby como PlayStation, en la simple, igual que PlayStation. Entonces yo le doy al botón de home y me sale Delta. Y Delta coge, y el juego coge toda la pantalla como si fuera un Switch.
Ok.
Papi, estoy jugando Mario lo que nunca. Voy por el level 4. Nunca había llegado ahí. Mario se pone del tamaño de 20 pies. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? No lo veo.
Sí, yo me había comprado eso cuando salió. El backbone ese de... Pero tengo de Android.
Ah, ok, pues yo no fui a comprar eso, fue que lo vi. Y como sé que lo iba a hacer, lo compré. Y me compré el control de... Porque era Ay, maratón.
Ah, sí, el de jueguito.
Compré el control.
Yo jugué ese jueguito con el tutorial y lo quité.
Sí, no, yo compré el control porque como es blanco completo, es feo.
Matado se compró el control ese que salió nuevo que viene en 2 tonos.
Ah, lo vi. Pero como ya tengo el de Spider-Man, el de Fortnite, pues déjame comprar este para seguirlos comprando así.
Se compró el que es verdecito con creo que con negro.
Cabrón, se ven cabrones toditos.
Sí. Oye, pero están bien caros esos controles, ¿viste?
Bien cabrón.
Por lo menos estos modelos están bien caros, están 80 y pico. 84 y pico.
Arriba.
Cabrón, me tumbó.
Ya lo me al lado meto, hay uno al lado y vienen 2 más. Ya me tumbó las millas. ¿El boss tuyo? ¿O es de ellos?
Móntate, bro.
Ya, corre, vete. Ay, porque me monté atrás. Ay, es que hay uno de ellos ahí montado. Está en el techo.
Mira a ver si puede. Ajá.
Está en el techo.
A ver si lo pueden matar.
Sí.
Dale, que dejé el nene botado por allá, veo dónde viene.
¡Estos cabrones!
El cabrón me trajo a la guapa, pues me monté, ¿qué tú crees?
Mira ahí. Pues cuando salí que salían los del yo, déjame ver lo que es este aquí. El nene fue para allá.
Aquí para el círculo ese.
A ver dónde está.
El que está disparando es el bot.
Toma, se la pegué a uno.
Ya, no viste cabrón allá arriba arriba escondido. Cuidado, están por ahí escondidos. Viene por ahí, bro.
¡Ya! Y yo que no la he visto jugar.
Acuérdate que ahora es pelotero.
Oh, sí, pero que como te digo, no lo he visto conectado. Me levanté esta mañana y vi una notificación que se conectó como a las 1:30 de la mañana.
Sí, yo lo he visto conectarse. Entra a Fortnite y no sé si juega un jueguito y se va para pelota.
Oh, eres pelotero.
El juego está bufiado también, yo lo tengo también, está bufiadito.
Y mira, ahí está Stone Cold. A mí me gusta el de eso con la cerveza.
Pero es más de lo mismo, el de pelota, de verdad. Por eso yo quería comprarlo cuando salió. Bueno, o sea, cuando estuviese más barato, porque es más de lo mismo.
Yo hasta que no pongan un season normal no lo voy a comprar. Porque no voy a jugar. Si ponen un season normal, lo juego por 10 años.
Es que esos juegos así se enfocan más que en el online, como quien dice.
Pues y eso no me gusta.
El 2K se enfoca en marcar Riegel y entonces el de pelota se enfoca en el Diamond Destiny ese. Me marcó que tengo que ir para aquí, a ver.
Tienes que hablar con la muchacha, creo. O comprar una pistola. O comprar una pistola.
¿Está aquí o está en las construcciones esas? Porque me marcó para dónde.
Hay una muchacha, en lo azul hay una muchacha. No sé si acá... ¿Qué te dice?
Ya la vi, pero es que me marcó donde marqué el azul.
Sí, hay una muchacha hasta ahí. Ahí está Jess, la que... el skin de Save the World. ¿Cómo carajo metió?
Y a diablo.
Aquí está. Toda esta comida que está aquí está Penny. Hay alguien por aquí escondido, no, hay alguien por aquí.
Tengo que marcar 3 objetos. Ahí está, falta uno. Ok. ¿Qué dice? Ah, de tinta rareza.
Sí, hay alguien por ahí. Toma, marca este. Aquí con Bob Bunny que está reviviendo a alguien.
¿Qué más que cuál?
Esta, espérate. Pero ahí.
Sí, ahora sí. A ver, ¿cuál es la otra? Visita ubicaciones con nombre. Era un cubito aquí, ni sabía que estaba aquí. Si no lo tiene, está aquí.
Sí, ya, ahí voy a cogerlo.
Parece que hay un bug porque la guagua de...
La Urus no me sale.
No, y a mí me cambió la guagua de Scooby-Doo, me cambió como si fuera un estilo fúnebre.
Sí, a mí también hay un error. A mí no me salió. A mí tampoco me salió. Y decía, y yo empecé a jugar y esta guagua me la dieron, pues. Porque, y cuando entré a cambiar la guagua, es la de mía, ahí me di cuenta que era un error.
Creo que fue ayer o antes jugué y yo, ¿qué carajo pasó con la guagua de Scooby-Doo? Una guagua fúnebre ahora.
Yo iba a pelear, le voy a comer los chavos.
Lo mismo está pasando también con el baile ese de la película del Deadpool, lo quitaron.
¿En serio?
El de Bye Bye Bye, lo quitaron, sí.
Ah, pues tienen que devolverme el chavo porque yo lo compré.
Y a diablo. Y a diablo.
Pues no chequeo el baile ese, no lo chequeo.
Por algo de derecho, algo así.
¿Será que pues sí, pero pues, me tienen que devolver el chavo porque yo lo compré?
A ver, están todavía bregando a ver si lo van a poder sacar o quieran hacer después que...
Porque...
Oye, yo también lo tengo, pero no sé... Chavo no manda, oíste.
Carajo, digamos yo que los tiro mirando por otro lado. Porque yo sí sé que ahí hay unos como el de la roca, el de la Adam. Ese no va a salir de nuevo. Porque lo vaya. Puñeta, pero porque me quita. Si no me está dando tiro, porque me quita vida. Ya lo con la escopeta. Hay uno acá abajo. Cabrón, el que me quitó vida, no me quitó vida. No me estaba dando un puto tiro y me quitó toda la vida.
Un ñaño.
Dale por el lobby a ver.
Pues yo tengo Deadpool puesto, pero no. Vamos a chequear a ver si... El casillero...
¿Está ahí todavía?
¿Tú lo tienes en baile?
Sí.
No, pues se resolvieron, porque habían dicho que lo habían como que bloqueado porque por los derechos, yo no sé qué carajo. Vamos a caer en ubicaciones con nombre.
Yo tengo unos Ben Bison, ¿verdad? Y ya un par de añitos ya. Pintura negra.
¿Le pusiste?
De lejos no se ve. Digo, vi otros para comprarlo, pero a lo que los compro, pues. No quiero, no quiero.
Está cabrón.
Yo tuve el bus driver.
Ah, el que lo está guiando.
Ajá.
Sí, pero los míos van por dentro del cristal. No van pegados afuera. So, el de frente no tiene 3M, el de atrás sí. So, si tú vas a comprar para tu carro, búscatelo de eso, se ve mejor. Van por dentro del cristal.
Pero van pegados en el cristal.
No, adentro, entonces el boquetito del cristal, arriba, en la puerta, ahí se pilla. Que el de frente llega hasta abajo, hasta el retrovisor. Bueno, está todo el borde de la puerta.
Pero tú puedes bajar como si nada, ¿verdad?
Sí. Yo nunca he tenido problemas. Esa hueva tienen que ponerle más power steering porque uno trata de virar y se tarda un montón.
Ah, que es sin bala, hostia.
Ah, pero este es el muñequito ese, no es nadie.
Ahí, aquí, no sé si me contó,
Ahí hay dos aquí. Me tiro pan de oro. Me metí yo mismo. Tremendo talento. Ah, bye bye.
¿Se fueron para el lobby?
No, yo, sí, yo lo vi ahí. Ven acá, Juni.
Gracias, gracias. Estamos aquí.